Good morning, traders. It's Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 10 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, August 11th. So, looking back at Friday's action, right? Uh, I had talked about this before on this eight grid positioning. I found it more worthwhile to throw the VIX on there instead the futures contract for the VIX, the forward slash VX. But we had basically the opening bell and just consolidation, drive down to the lower end today, which meant all things being equal, the futures push up and keep floating higher. They ended up going up to basically 575 up in the Qs, but not until after the bell rang, right? Of course. And then we've been getting a lot of late pushes one way or the other as of late. Like they're just sitting there holding it back and then letting it go at the end. That's not my area to trade, and they can keep playing that game as long as they want. I'm not partaking. It's too thin. The liquidity just is not there. Uh, you can really get whipsawed in that game. So I think it's setting you up for future screwing if you want to play in that range. So enough about that. And then as we look, didn't get up to 6,400 until the close. It would have went right up there after the close. And then the SPY, just sitting here right around 638, nothing doing. What happened to structure, right? We had that. Look at this, impulse move after the closing bell, just heading up there. Uh, we do have some excess in A on the Nasdaq and the ES as well. And then looking at where we're at, right? We're just basically we're playing keep away, right? We had that uh, Thursday, Friday push the week before. We come back up. We kind of dojied around on Thursday, and then on Friday we pushed up, just playing keep away from all those shorts. Right? You can see that there's much more traffic down here now than there was up here before, and just a little game of keep away there. So untested points of control from Friday, basically 64.15. We're trading 64.18, so that'll probably trade today. And then below 63.67 is the only ones around there. And you can see, textbook come back down to that uh, previous balance zone low, come back up, then checked off but the previous balance zone high, kind of lifted up, and that's where we sit at the moment. Um, Again, that excess and A line to be aware of is 23,612, 613, right around in there, and 63.90 is where we are. There's a very high probability that those levels trade at some point today. We are going to have President Trump on a hot mic at 10 a.m. He is supposed to just be, what it's scheduled for is the Washington D.C. right. So uh, basically, the law enforcement area there. But President Trump isn't known to sticking to one topic during when he has a hot mic. He usually will talk about several topics. So it's really I have no interest in trading today probably until after he is off of the hot mic, or to be looking at something that is far away and some structure forming while he's on the hot mic. I don't want to take anything around the recent action, right? Somewhere below here, and we could bring up Jack's day frame indicator, right? Something, first test of 634. If we flash down there really quick wise on the mic, I'd be interested in participating on a little bit of a bounce trade there. Uh, if you come back down there and trade and head back up, I'd be interested in what if the mic is still hot to be shorting around here just because of overhead supply as just a scalp with limited risk. Those are just, you're either right or you're wrong, and they'll be quick trades. So don't, you got to make it at least 3.5 to 1 on your risk to reward if you're going to be taking those. You have to decide where your risk is and where your reward is, and then just manage it as soon as you're in. So then, looking at where we're at now, again, there's a high probability that with no news today, and keep in mind this is OPEX week, but the VIX does not expire or roll over on Wednesday this week. So it will be a little bit more muted, right? We might not get a huge move until next Wednesday when the VIX expires. Volatility should start contracting again as we go into next week's VIX. Uh, and then keep in mind those big levels, right, can be act as magnets, but it doesn't mean we're gonna. Volatility is usually a two-way street, right? You can go one direction, right, but that doesn't make it volatile. So we can, get a rundown, and we'll get into looks at, where the top and the bottom is for the week or whatever here. Uh, but as we look at uh, today, right, still looking at 580 as the lid. That's about 200 points higher than we're currently trading on the NQ. So that'd be right around 23,920 ish. Um, and then you're also looking at 640 on the Qs. That would be around uh, 24 points higher than we're currently trading. So you're looking at basically 41, 64, 41 ish would be around where that is. And then looking at the SPY, you can get all the way up to for this week. The call wall is 6,500, and you got those JPM short strikes at 60. 505, but for the week, we really shouldn't make any traction above 64.75 at this point in time with the way the position is lined up. So short of there. So, that's where as day traders, your risk is, not there, you flip, right? It doesn't mean you should short up there, but it means that if you're trying to look for longs, the reward just isn't there for them anymore once you get up there. And that's going to be probably around 70 to 80 points higher than we're currently trading. There was a little bit of an offset, more than normal, between the futures and the cash market from Friday's closing action with that spike up. Um, so, when I set out the A grid this morning, I'll have that cleaned up and updated so we can look. But you're probably looking at, right around where these overnight highs are. We've been, crossing back and forth around this 6,400 more than likely is where you're at. And then you're also just crossing back and forth. On the NQ right on this 575. Remember, and then 580, which is, right around that, 935, 937 area today. That would be your lid. But if we look, down below, you're looking at 560, right? So that would be 15 points down on the Qs. So that's going to be right around 600 points lower. So you're looking at, 200 points higher potentially and 600 points lower. That's your range for the week that we're locked into right now. It doesn't mean we're going to test either one of them, but it means the closer you get to the top, the less your reward is for being long. The closer you get to the bottom, uh, the worse your reward is for being short. And right now, we're in the upper end of that, right? We have you're looking at basically a $20 range, and we got $5 more to go to get to the top of it. So I'm just gonna kind of let this market do what it wants. Uh, I'll be and I after I do my opening stuff, I'm not even while I'm doing my opening stuff, I'm not really gonna be paying attention to the market in that first little bit. I'm not going to take any trades until President Trump is on the hot mic. And keep in mind, he's not a punctual person. So the chances that he actually starts talking at 10 o'clock are probably like 1%. It'll probably be more like 10, 20. So it means he might not get off the mic until He could talk for 10 to 20 minutes, and you'll just have to have something live on while that's going on. So I hope this helps. We'll see what Jack's looking at, and I will talk to you tomorrow.